All right, so this is Space Jam 2, Space Jam: A New Legacy. It's the sequel to the Michael Jordan one that came out in the 90s. I just recently reviewed that. I'll put that like at the end or something. You can watch that. But this is the sequel. It's directed by Malcolm D. Lee, and this one pretty much is like the Looney Tunes and stuff like that, but it's LeBron James instead of Michael Jordan. So in this movie, LeBron James, I'll say how I feel about it in a second, but LeBron James it starts off with him when he's young. He wants to play video games and he's not focusing on his game. So his coach gives him this like, this speech pretty much that he should focus more on his game. So then that starts like a character arc with him where he's only focused on the game and he wants to even force that on his son, Dom James, played by Cedric Joe. And so that causes a rift in their relationship because he not only wants to play games, but he also wants to make games. He creates games even though he's like 12 years old. Like, anyway, um, they go to Warner Brothers because an executive has this proposal for him because Algae Rhythm, who is the Warner Brothers algorithm, played by Don Cheadle, he wants to be known by everybody. He does all this work for Warner Brothers. I guess he wants to be known, so he wants to use LeBron James and his fame to be known. And so he takes LeBron James and his son. He takes them to the serververse, which is where he lives at and what he controls somehow. And he even sends LeBron James down with to the Toon World with Bugs Bunny, and he challenges him to a basketball game that everybody's gonna see. They're gonna broadcast it to everybody, and he's gonna, I guess, beat them in front of everybody so that he can then gain some kind of fame himself as an algorithm. And his team is the Goon Squad, and they have the likenesses of it's kind of complicated. It makes no sense, but they have the likenesses of the other some other basketball stars, kind of like the Monstars in the other one. So this isn't getting very good reviews from what I know of. Rightfully so. I actually think the reviews should be worse um, because this is a piece of fucking shit. But positives. I thought the 2D animation on the Looney Tunes characters was good. The 2D animation on LeBron James, his version, his character, is not good. It's almost like they should have just green screened him in like they did with Michael Jordan, because he looks terrible. Like the way he moves and all this stuff. It's like somebody else completely dealt with that. I don't know. Maybe they were pushing it too much. I guess I don't know. But whenever he moves and have to do all these exaggerated little movements, just doesn't look good. But the Looney Tunes look good. The Looney Tunes aren't as fun as they should be, and that's part of my negatives. But I guess you can have some fun with some of the things they do, like during the basketball game and stuff like that. They are CG animated for the basketball game for reasons. I guess maybe it's easier to actually have the game and all that if LeBron James is himself and their CG. And I guess the CG animation looks fine, other than the fur on some of the characters like Lola Bunny doesn't look that good. Also, Don Cheadle, he's good in the movie. I would say he has the most personality and everything in the movie, with him being the villain character that's kind of full of himself and like trying to gain fame over all this and manipulating the relationship between LeBron James and his kid. There's some good stuff with him. His overall plan, not so much. The overall plot, not so much. But he's probably one of the best parts of this. And that's about it with the positives. This is awful, right? I'll talk a little bit more about some other stuff, but we can start off with LeBron James. It starts off with this almost like this tribute video where it's not just, in the opening, intro, the opening sequence. It's like, right after when he's a kid. And instead of it just being like Michael Jordan's thing where it's just like little montages of him playing, it's like a highlight reel or some kind of thing about from like his whole career. And they actually do like say, oh, he's an entrepreneur and all these other things, and he's more than just a basketball player. He's a king. And then they legit call him King James throughout this movie. Don Cheadle calls him King James. Don Cheadle even calls the son character Prince. I mean, it's just it. I mean, they did that in the original movie, but it was mostly like a joke kind of thing where Michael Jordan was terrible at baseball, and but yet he was such a big star already from basketball that his teammates were still like kind of like, you know, oh, that was a nice strikeout. I love that strikeout, Mike. You know, they were still trying to like suck up to him. But here, it feels like the movie itself is like, you know, oh, yo, you great, LeBron. Oh, you're so great, King James. Oh, I'm sorry, did I call you LeBron? I meant King James, royalty. Oh, I grovel at your feet. Like it's pretty much that for the movie, and it definitely doesn't help that he cannot act at all.
Dad, I think we're digitized. We're in the computer.
We're in the computer?
Dad.
You know I'm claustrophobic. How do we get out of here?
Dad.
Where's the elevators?
Dad.
Hey Siri, can you let us out of here, please?
I think he's acted before in like some Amy Schumer movie or something like that. I didn't see that movie, but he's terrible in this. I mean, he can't emote like at all, and then there's these emotional moments that he has to do, or even the surprised moments when he's first in the serververse, and they don't work because he can't emote. He's just not good at it. Any scene with him and his son can't act, but I chalk that up to child acting. LeBron James, voice acting, can't voice act either. Can't do any voice acting. There's very little emotion in his voice with his voice acting when he's in 2D as well. Him acting alongside, you know, real people, acting alongside CG Looney Tune characters, it's going to be bad consistently no matter what. I mean, he's just not good, and it doesn't help that the story around him isn't good either.
Listen, guys, I'm a ball player. You know, and athletes acting, that never goes well.
You have these shitty ass sequences of them being in these different places because they have to gather them up. Granny and Speedy Gonzalez, they're in the Matrix, and that's one of the only things Speedy Gonzalez ever does. I don't know if he was ever even in the game when they were playing basketball, but you know, that really is all he does. They have all these shitty ass Lola Bunnies with Wonder Woman and all this. We'll get more into that, but the Looney Tunes characters, they don't have much to do here because it feels like it's mostly about Warner Brothers and other things that they got going on rather than actually a sequel to Space Jam and these Looney Tunes characters actually having some kind of chemistry. I mean, I guess they had some chemistry with Michael Jordan. There's none here with LeBron James. Porky Pig has that shitty ass rap. They put that out as a clip. That just goes to show, if they're putting out clips or trailers and it's really, really bad and like cringy as hell, that's how you know the movie is gonna be bad. That's what they were marketing the movie on. They've been marketing the fuck out of this movie too. And yeah, the rap's not good, but that's really all that Porky Pig even does. Does he even play in the game? Elmer Fudd has little, you know, little things that he says, little lines. I don't remember him ever even having the ball. Like, there's no point for these Looney Tunes even to be in this because it's 100% about other shit. And we might as well talk about that shit right now. This is not a movie. This is 100% just Warner Brothers and all their different products. I mean, it is damn near just like right out there in the open. It's almost like full on like mask off type shit where they go to the Warner Brothers lot or whatever, and they have the little proposal that what's his name, Al G or whatever, Don Cheadle's putting on for LeBron James, and he's in all these different products and in all these different properties. And he's like, look at all Warner Brothers has done. Look at all these great things of Warner Brothers. And I'm like, God damn, like is this a movie or are you trying to sell me something? It's like a proposal to me as an audience member. And that's pretty much what it is. Like when they go through all these worlds like The Matrix, Mad Max Fury Road, and all these other things, it feels like all these different products coming together to almost be advertised to you. The thing that it was reminding me of was the Emoji Movie, where they could really just go around the apps, right? To get to the cloud or whatever the fuck it was. They have the shitty ass plot with these shitty ass characters, but it's really just to like stopping all these apps so that they can sell Candy Crush and Spotify to you and YouTube and all this. It's advertisement essentially. That's it, and it feels like 100% a corporate product, and that's really what this is. They've stopped all these different worlds, for for they have worlds for Game of Thrones, and I think Wizard of Oz was there. They're almost like the worlds in Kingdom Hearts, if you've ever played those games, where like the Disney has all the different Disney worlds. There's a Tarzan world, Alice in Wonderland, and you stop in all of them and like experience like the movies, or pal around with, I don't know, Jack Skellington in Halloween Town or whatever. That's essentially what they have here, and rather than it actually feeling like a story or a sequel to that, to the original movie, it's more that than anything else. It's part LeBron James vanity project because we have to constantly massage. I have to imagine if you're a basketball fan that's not a fan of LeBron James, probably avoid this movie like the plague, I guess, because it's probably going to upset you. But it's that, and then it's also just a corporate product to shill these Warner Brothers properties. The they made a big deal in the trailer. Of course, they're gonna put that in the trailer, almost like Ready Player One, where they have all these different references all coming together on the court in the Toon World, or right there for the basketball game. They have all these different the properties, or all these different Warner Brothers characters and stuff like that, Scooby Doo and stuff like that, and they're really there just to wave at you during the basketball game. You see the trailer, LeBron James is like, "We gotta put a team together," almost like the MCU or some shit. That's about it. That's all they do is just sit there and wave. And not only that, the costume design, because they have these characters come in like the Clockwork Orange, Mask, and stuff like that. It's almost like they're only there so that people can make Easter egg videos on YouTube. But regardless, because it's a nostalgic gasm all over the fucking screen. They're there, but they look like random people off the street in costumes. Not even good costumes. It looks like bad cosplay. It's embarrassing. This movie is fucking embarrassing. It really is. It really is. They have this game with this rap that comes out of nowhere. It doesn't make sense in the game. They have a game where there's essentially no rules. There's a CG Don Cheadle at one point that looks like fucking garbage. This is awful. This is the worst movie I've seen this year. It is embarrassing. It is 100% a product. I have to imagine the director had like no creative control over this. This was 100% like some kind of corporate, just a corporate made product, like made by committee almost. It doesn't really feel like a movie. It feels like them shoving things in your face, shoving their Warner Brothers like, these different products, all the different properties that they have the rights to, just shoving them down your throat real good. But anyway, the original Space Jam movie isn't that good. And by the way, at least that original one had a good soundtrack. This soundtrack is kind of overbearing and kind of lame. There's a lot of lame shit in here, like the dialogue of like, hey, let's turn up. Oh, it's lit. You got LeBron James dabbing earlier on. It's all the really like lame. Like we gotta try to appeal to kids. Oh, we're cool. Oh yeah, we're hip. We're definitely hip. It's so bad. I couldn't wait to get on camera and talk shit because this gave me a headache, and I'm upset. So I'm gonna give this a complete shit. I think it's the worst movie of 2021 at the very least so far, and I don't think it'll be dethroned. I think it will be the king of really awful movies, at least when it comes to like legitimate movies that come out in 2021 this year at least. So yeah, that's it. That's Space Jam: A New Legacy. Let's hope that legacy dies with this one, because I don't want to see another one. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.